Amazing Mets fans, it's Wardy here, and we have another amazing victory to break down inning by inning as Tyrone Taylor and Luis Acuna help lead the charge in what was an offensive clinic yet again for the Amazing Mets with Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, and star-studded Starling Marte. Exactly what I said in our pregame show. I didn't like Marte batting fourth today, but watch him hit a bomb. You're welcome in advance, and that's exactly what happened. What a masterful game here for the Amazins to kickstart their little homestand. Just a 3-game set against the Arizona Diamondbacks as the Mets are now 13-1 at home this season. They took down a Diamondbacks team that entered today's game with far and away the best offense that we've seen in baseball beginning last year, averaging 5.5 runs a game. David Pearson goes 5 shutty. The bullpen holds it down, and we have so many amazing things to break down on both the offensive and the pitching and the defensive end and this amazing victory. How we doing, everybody? Make sure to spam those W's live in the show right here and on replay for our latest WardyNYM post-game show presented by our awesome friends here at SeatGeek, BetUS TV, and Mando, just to name a few. And we're going to get to them a little bit later in the show, folks. But first and foremost, I want to see the initial reactions. How are we feeling after an amazing Mets victory, the way the Mets just had themselves transpire? And this was a big night at Citi Field. The celebs were showing out as well. You saw Francisco Lindor's #1 fan throughout the first pitch, and John Mayer. For those that don't know, John Mayer has heavily credited Lindor for inspiration over the past year. It's really fascinating to actually learn about. I implore you guys to do it should you have interest. But a lot of the stars were showing out today, and the boys themselves 1 through 9 showed out as well. And a lineup with no Brandon Nimmo because he's dealing with a stomach bug. No Jeff McNeil because they went righty heavy against Eduardo Rodriguez. What does Carlos Mendoza do? Prove me wrong and prove everyone that was doubting this lineup at all wrong yet again. What a fantastic job by the lineup, top to bottom. I'm so excited to get into this, everybody. Spam that like and subscribe button as you first chime in. Eric Douglas, thank you so much for the 3-dot holla. I greatly appreciate that. Was that Pete Alonso's best defensive game? It's up there because it was an absolute star-studded ball game, to say the least, everybody. Let's get into it. Let's break down this amazing victory, folks. So spam those W's right here, right now. Shout out, as always, to our amazing friends on the platform at BetUS TV that have you cover all the latest odds, picks, and lines. And as you can see, the Mets are currently slated as the second best team to win the National League this year at plus 550, only trailing the LA Dodgers. Now, I'm not telling you guys to go out your way to hammer these, but should you guys want to buy a bet and sprinkle some dollars, feel free to do so. We're awesome friends here at BetUS TV that, again, have you covered with picks, odds, lines, you name it. They have you as well, not only with the Dodgers at plus 140, but with the Phillies right now, right around the Mets, which I find hilarious. The Braves not far behind, as the Braves are starting to get on a roll this season. That we know the San Diego Padres, I'm sure, will be in that mix too. But check them out should you guys have interest, but make sure you do it responsibly first and foremost. But folks, you know the drill by now. We got to let it rip with the one, the only, the official WardyNYM post-game jingle, baby. Let's go. Ha ha. Shout out to my guys, Greg and Jordan, as always, with the official WardyNYM post-game jingle. Love it or hate it, ain't going anywhere. And we run that bad boy after every amazing victory throughout the course of the season. We started last year, and that continues on here. And what has been nothing short of an amazing 2025 to this point. And as I see all my great members in the chat, we got JR, we got D, great member, we got DMAC, great member, Moon Shadow with the 10-dot holla. What fan base has better than us right now? Nobody. You said it, baby. Thank you so much for that donation. Eric Douglas, how we doing? Great member. We got Juliet, great member in here. We got Juan Diaz, great member. We got great follower, all things Mets talk. How you doing? Chad O'Neill, great member, going up the list here. We got Dan, how we doing? We got DMAC, as we said earlier. We got our guy Steve Lawn, great member. I know Dave Kaplitz is going to chime in at some point. Love you, Dave. We got Chalk in here. We got G Money. We got Lewis, great member. We got RZ, great member. Tim, how we doing? D, great member, going up the list here even more. Daniel Caps, great member. No Name, how you doing? Jets Mets, how you doing? Bob, Eric Douglas with the donation earlier, thank you again. Victor, JR, Bill, BH, Patrick, Jojo, RMX, Kyle, Christopher, thank you guys again. Come one, come all, as we break down the latest in Mets land, everybody. And I'm gonna keep rocking this bad boy. I've been doing it all day. My Knicks are trying to eliminate the Pistons here in their first round of playoffs against another, and hopefully it works out. If you're not a Knicks fan, then just disregard. Don't worry, we got the Mets hat right here. We have my other Mets hat with the baby Mr. Met on it right by my feet as well. So we got all the Mets gear, but I gotta be rocking my Knicks right now with them actively playing in the fourth quarter, and they're down by 1 with 8 to play. But guys, how are we feeling? What a game. So much history continues to be broken and reaffirmed by this Mets team. The Mets have now tied the National League record ever. Listen to the following, folks. The Mets have tied the National League record for the most wins ever in the month of April. The Mets have 19 wins in the month of April, 21 total on the season to this point. They're 21-9, 12 games above 500, 13-1 at home. As long as they get that road record a little balanced, these boys are going to continue to cook. Tingus, thank you so much for the donation. Tingus with the $2 house says, this is what good teams do after poor performances. Absolutely. And listen, the boys weren't poor yesterday. They dominated the Nationals, but we're seeing the offense finally start to break out. And folks, what has been a commonality from the Mets' big games and their victories against the Nationals to now the DBacks? It's all with Juan Soto not being a heavy focal point on the offensive end. Juan Soto was one of the only Mets today to not record a hit. Just himself, Francisco Alvarez, and Mark Vientos did not record a hit for the Mets. Everyone else did. So 6 out of the 9 were hitting. 3 out of the 9 were not. Dan, thank you so much for becoming a new member here on the platform. We really appreciate that. And make sure to smash that like and subscribe button as you guys chime in, because I want to know right away, what are your biggest takeaways from tonight's victory, folks? We have a lot to get into in this one. We have a lot of things transpiring in Mets land that we piggybacked from our pregame show, and we'll talk about again in a video that drops in the AM having to do with the Mets bullpen configuration with AJ Minter now looking like he might have his season cut short already due to surgery. Hope that isn't the case, but it's looking like it's going to be more and more apparent that way. Mitchell Robinson just got banged up on the court, but I believe he's okay for my Knicks fans. Greg, thank you so much for the $5 haul. I really appreciate that. Great member to have in here, as always, folks. But this was a fantastic Game 1 victory out of a 3-game set against this Arizona Diamondbacks team, and I don't want to waste any time, so let's get right into this, everybody. But before we do, I have one final thing to share, and this obviously goes in hand with our amazing sponsors here, because as many of you guys know, and ours, oh my goodness gracious, AZ, thank you so much for the donation. I will get to that in just one hot second, my man. I want to give a big shout out, as always, to our amazing sponsor as well at SeatGeek. As many of you guys have already done, you have utilized our promo code WARDY10 by clicking that link down below for your next ticket purchase for Mets tickets or whatever you need on the ticketing front, because SeatGeek not only has you covered with over 70,000 events to choose from and millions that we've seen in total downloads with their tickets, making them the #1 rated ticketing app in the game today, but they have done a fantastic job with their navigation system and what has separated themselves from the rest, of my opinion, which is why I'm so happy to have them here as a sponsor, where you can use our promo code WARDY10 to get 10% off your next ticket purchase. I know a lot of you guys have for Mets tickets, and thank you so much to everyone that goes out of their way to tell me in the chat and tags me on X saying, Wardy, I'm hitting the Mets game with your code. It goes a long way, and we appreciate that, folks, because what separates them from the rest is how they go about their ticketing system here. As we take a look for the Diamondbacks tickets for tomorrow, this Wednesday's game, they have a grading scale 1 to 10 and a color coordination scale red to green. It's so simple to use. So pretty much what it means is, as you guys can see right now in their ticketing app, it's going to load here in a second. You guys can see the green. It's actually on a grade out of 10, and that grade is important because that means that that is an absolute slam dunk grade for this specific ticket. I apologize, as of course it's not focusing the way that I wanted to. Maybe it will here in a second. If it doesn't, no worries. But the point is, everybody, is that these are currently $26 tickets at a 10 grade. An amazing deal to get 2 tickets at $26 a pop, everybody. Hammer them with our awesome friends again at SeatGeek that have you covered with all the latest on the ticketing front. 10% off your next purchase with our promo code WARDY10. Click that link down below in the description, and thank you so much for doing that. Eric with the roughly $3 holla, thank you so much. An awesome April is going to turn into a monster May. No miserable May. We want a monster May. You said it, Eric. Thank you so much for that donation. I appreciate that a lot, and you. But all right, guys, enough of me babbling it out like I always do. Let's break down this ball game any by any. inning and get into the history that the Mets continue to make, folks, because the boys are now 13-1 at home. And as we got on leading into the 5th inning, the Mets had now scored 25 runs in their past 9 innings, leading into the 5th inning. So context there. But this game started in the first with the soft tossing Eduardo Rodriguez facing a righty-heavy lineup that we saw here for the Mets today. A very righty-heavy lineup with Nimmo out due to illness and obviously McNeil just coming off the bench. And what did the Mets do since then, everybody? They just continue to torment. This team is so impressive to me. Regardless on the lineup configuration, they're showing up every single time. And one final statistic to share with you all, and then we'll break down the ballgame inning by inning, is as follows. For the 6th time in franchise history, the Mets have at least 21 wins at 21-9 in their first 30 games of the season. The previous years they've done this: 1972, 1985, 1986, and 2006, as well as 1988. So pretty good company for the Amazins here. I hope they fall in that 1986 category greater than anyone else, but we'll find out. Now, as this game got started between two southpaws and Eduardo Rodriguez and David Pearson, heading into today's game, Eduardo had an expected ERA around 2.79 when his baseline ERA was 4.04 or so. In the case of David Pearson, he had an ERA right around just under 3.3 today with an expected ERA of over 4. Now, Peterson hasn't been an analytics darling, and it's went in direct hand because he's had a lot of luck on his side. He's had great defense on his side, and little did David Pearson know just how great defense he would have today. He was absolutely spoiled with the defense, and he absolutely should be chefing up a nice steak dinner for this entire Mets squad on the offensive and defensive end of the ball, given how this game shaked out. So, as we see in the first, Geraldo Perdomo gets on with a single right away. He rips that one towards Juan Soto. Then we would see Corbin Carroll ground out after a great diving play there by the polar bear and Pete Alonso, who was nothing short of a web gem at first base tonight. Then Randall Grichuk with strikeout swinging. That slider was working nasty today that we saw there for David Pearson facing, again, Grichuk as well usually dominates against lefties. Great to see Pearson have the success they did against him. Lourdes Gurriel then would be out that we saw on the ground out, and that does it for the top of the first. And the bottom of the first, everybody. And there is no call-in today, Birdman. I apologize. It was kind of hard to swing back-to-back days when we did a 2.5-hour live show yesterday. But don't worry, we will be taking callers again in the near future. Hopefully before the weekends. This is my goal to do that for you guys. So be on the lookout for it after a big win when we have some time to make it happen. But in the bottom of the first, folks, we would see Lindor pop out for his first at-bat of the day. Lindor entering today's at-bat had a 481 average in the first inning leading off. I mean, he's just unbelievable leading off so far this season. We've seen that. And Lindor, while he didn't get a hit there, he would make up for it later on in this ball game. Then we see Juan Soto would be called out on strikes. Then with 2 outs, Pete Alonso rips a single. That does it for the inning as Marte pops out shortly after. In the top of the second, we would see Eugenio Suarez, who leads all the National League right now in home runs, thanks to a 4-home-run game not that long ago. Fast forward to present day, and he grounds that in his first at-bat. D. Wilson, thank you so much for the $5 haul. I appreciate that, D. Hi, Wardy. How about our Mets? How about our Mets? Indeed, D. Thank you so much again for the donation. We're happy to have you in here. As we continue on, Gabby Moreno grounds out, and Pavin Smith grounds out. Fantastic inning of infield work there by the Mets and Lindor, Alonso, Acuna, etc. They all did their job, but especially the polar bear. That was the most impressive thing that I think we saw throughout the first couple innings of this ball game. And then as we got to the bottom of the third, everybody, because Pete was making diving stops left, right, and center, we get to the bottom of the second, and we would see with 1 out, Luisangel Acuna rips a single like the beast that he is. He pokes one up the middle there. Then we see Alvarez pop out for the second out of the inning, and that sets up TT and Tyrone Taylor. And what does Tyrone Taylor do, everybody? He does amazing things for the Mets today. He rips his second double of the year. That drives in Luisangel Acuna all the way from first, and the Mets have themselves a 1-0 lead with a runner in scoring position. Jose Ascar, who got the surprise start today over Jeff McNeil, but knowing that they want to heavily favor the righty batter matchup versus the lefty there, and Eduardo Rodriguez, Erod, and he takes advantage. Jose Ascar continues a hit spree, not only what we saw in spring training, but a continuation so far in this Mets team, and that's been impressive. Tip of the cap to Jose Ascar. Every single time he's been called upon so far, he's stepped up and has looked fantastic that we've seen for the most part. Ascar goes Oppo with a single. That drives in Tyrone, and the Mets are up by 2 here in the second. And let's double it and make it 4, because not long after Jose Ascar makes it a 2-run ball game Francisco Lindor does something he hasn't done all season long yet, and that's ripping a home run from the right side of the plate. After review, we would see that hits not only the top of the padding, but even the fence there, and that is a home run, baby. Francisco Lindor rips his 6th home run this season. Himdor himself, our captain, and Mr. Smile puts a big smile on all of our faces as the Mets are now up 4-0 throughout the first 2 innings of play. What great early offense by this Mets team. I can't get over how consistent that they have been over the past number of games, between going back to their original homestand 7-0 there, even splitting the series in DC. Like, there was never a second where you felt like the Mets were out of any of these games. They have been locked in every single one for the most part. Edward with the $5 haul. Thank you so much for that, Edward. He says, hitting, defense, pitching, and Forrest Gump and City missing something. That's a good question. I think the only thing the Mets were missing today was every other character imaginable, because there were a lot of celebs. There was a lot of people of different backgrounds at Citi Field today, and something that I think is noteworthy is the fact that we saw a good amount of celebs at Citi Field today, the same time that a Knicks playoff game, a potential elimination game against the Pistons, is actively happening at the same time. The Mets are becoming the talk of the town, folks. Whether you like it, dislike it, this is reality, and this is the now, and we are just getting started, baby. Can't wait to see what this season entails, because it's been great a month in, to say the least. We would see with 2 outs after Jorge Barosa strikes out for the 2nd out there in the top of the 3rd against Pearson. Perdomo rips a double, his 5th of the season, but that's all she wrote, as Corbin Carroll then grounds out softly right in front of Francisco Alvarez, and that does it for the top of the 3rd. In the bottom of the 3rd, we would see the Polar Bear get on with a walk, and then here comes star-studded Starling Marte. Marte getting the start here in the 4-hole at DH over Jesse Winker, and he absolutely obliterates a baseball against his former team. Yes, Starling Marte was an Arizona Diamondback with Ketel Marte, and no, they're not related, but it's a very interesting little story to tell. Marte rips his 2nd home run this season. That gives the Mets a 6-0 lead, and like each and every one of you, I'm just sitting here spoiled as a Mets fan. Oh my God, this is really just becoming like common practice for this Mets team. They're swinging for the fences every single night, and they have such a perfect balance of power to contact, to gap, and the speed now in this lineup to have you thinking that this is not a fluke. This is going to be a continued reality throughout the course of the season to varying degrees. And then we see, after Vientos would ground out, Acuna rips himself his 2nd hit of the day. This time he pokes one opposite field to Corbin Carroll. Then we would see Acuna steal his 7th bag of the season already, and Tyrone Taylor makes it a 7-0 ball game, folks. Tyrone with another single. This drives in Acuna for the 2nd straight time in 3 innings, and the Mets are up by 7 here as we then head to the bottom of the 3rd. And then the bottom of the 3rd, folks, we would see Randall Grichuk ground out because a tremendous web gem of a play. First, Mark Vientos is trying to make the diving play. It pops out of his glove, and as it pops out of his glove, Francisco Lindor barehands it midair, fires it to first, and he's out! What a tremendous play by that Mets infield. Vientos, again, couldn't handle it cleanly, but thankfully, when you have a star shortstop in Francisco Lindor, always heads up the way that he is, that would be the difference maker. Then after that, everybody, we would see more heroics by this Mets team as Tyrone Taylor does the unthinkable. He lays all the way out and makes a tremendous diving catch in center field. Jose Ascar is right next to him to back him up in case it didn't work out. What an amazing catch on Lourdes Gurriel Jr. to rob what would have otherwise been at least a double for Gurriel. And back-to-back just like that, David Pearson is getting the best defensive outing he's ever witnessed. And then to make things even better, Eugenio Suarez, as soon as he starts his at-bat, and Camp, it's really hard not to be ecstatic as a fan right now. They're just clicking on a lot of cylinders and not even on full cylinders yet, because Soto has yet to be Soto, and other aspects still have yet to fully blossom, including Vientos still, as he's now starting to break out, which is great, but we know he can be better still. Eugenio Suarez grounds out with a gorgeous pick at short by Mr. Francisco Lindor, our captain. Quick throw to first, and that does it there. What a defensive masterclass, folks. I don't think I remember in recent memory as a baseball fan the last time I saw the Mets play that good of a defensive inning. You know, I think of the Brandon Nimmo home run robbery on Justin Turner between the Dodgers and the Mets with DeGrom pitching, and Nimmo robs him dead center. But I don't remember a lot of other great defensive plays happening that inning. For a double robbery, for a ridiculous acrobatic play between Vientos and Lindor to Alonso that you will never see because it's not something you draw up, that happened on complete accident, luck, and it just worked out, thankfully, because of their talent. And then Lindor to get the pick the way that he did, they're clicking, baby. They are clicking. Zero Cool with the $5 holla. Thank you so much. Zero says, Mets plus 55 run differential is the best in MLB. It means that the 21-9 start is a true level of the team. This is sustainable, and Acuna is going to be a star. I 100% agree. Thank you so much for the donation, my man. I really appreciate that. Great member as always. We got our Douglas, great member in here. We also got our guy Sean MD, great member in here. We're happy to have you all as we break down the latest in Mets land as the Mets go out and take care of business against this Arizona Diamondbacks team comfortably there in game 1 of a 3-game set here at home. And as we continue breaking down this ball game, folks, the Mets are up 7 and playing like it's a tied ball game 0-0 with the defensive acrobats that they make. I mean, they're doing everything right now, literally everything. In the bottom of the 4th, we would see, oh my goodness gracious, more offense. With 2 outs after Lindor pops out and Soto lines out sharply that we saw to Wardy Jr., the polar bear wants his own bomb. For the first time in what was it, his past 32 at-bats or so that Gary was famously saying on the broadcast, and as soon as he said it, I looked at my dad, and we both said it in our head together, oh, that's going to be snapped, and Pete absolutely demolishes a baseball to left. It hits off the border that we saw there, second decky between first and second deck there in left field. Alonso rips his 7th home run of the season, and that would give the Mets an 8-0 lead. And the specifics on the Alonso home run, everybody, 416 feet and roughly 108 miles per hour off the bat with a 27-degree launch angle. Marte would ground out for the final out of the inning, but not before the Mets did massive damage, now up 8-zip as we're just entering the bottom of the 4th. And then the bottom of the 4th, we would see Pavin Smith get on with a 1-out single, and then a huge force out as Tim Tawa would get on base as the polar bear dives out with another tremendous play there. Can't get over the defensive web gems that we saw from Alonso in this ball game. He was great. Then we see Jorge Barrosa there batting 9th today in center field for the Arizona Diamondbacks, rip his first double of the season and potentially of his career, and that makes it 8-1 Arizona. Perdomo will then reach on a fielder's choice that we saw thereafter, but Corbin Carroll grounds out to end the inning. As we then get to the bottom of the 5th, we would see a 1-2-3 inning, as that would be the first inning of reliever work for Ryan Nelson, as Eduardo Rodriguez would exit after giving up a lot of earned runs and 4 innings. Not so ideal for the soft-tossing southpaw. Mark Vientos, we would see there with a flyout, Acuna with a lineout, and Alvey strikes out swinging for a 1-2-3. In the top of the 6th, we would see then Jose Butto come in, and Jose Butto rebounded, because like each and every one of you, I too was kind of sweating bullets a little bit, because regardless on what we have in front of us, lead-wise, we don't necessarily know how safe it is with Jose Butto, given what he's done of recent for this Mets team, and it hasn't been great. But today, it was great. He gets a called strike 3 on Randall Grichuk. He gets a ground out on Wardy Jr., and then he strikes out Eugenio Suarez, the NL home run leader, swinging. Fantastic ending to work there in the 6th, which then leads us to the bottom of the 6th, where we would see Taylor, Azocar, and Lindor go down 1-2-3. And the 7th, we would see after a Gabby Moreno strikeout by Butto, Pavin Smith gets on with a walk, Tim Tawa strikes out swinging, and Jorge Barrosa lines out there for the final out of the inning. In the bottom of the 7th, Juan Soto works a walk, the first time that he gets on base that we see there. Soto works a walk, and then Alonso unfortunately grounds into a double play. Marte then gets on with a walk, and then Vientos grounds into a force out, and that does it for the inning. As we get to the top of the 8th, here comes Kevin Herget. What a story this is, folks, that I expanded on more in a video that's dropping the AM for you guys, because I already did like half of that video's recording with a special guest, so be on the lookout for it. Really fun conversation. But Kevin Herget, what a story he is. East Coast native from New Jersey, 34 years of age. He's making his Mets debut when he idolized New York Mets, especially David Wright in particular, growing up. And Herget comes in, and he gets Perdomo to fly out, Corbin Carroll to fly out. He gives up a 2-out double to Randall Grichuk. And then we would see Lourdes Gurriel Jr. reach on, unfortunately, an error there by Mark Vientos, which was very unfortunate, if I'm being honest with just how that play, transpired. Would have loved to have back, but that allows a run to score still. And then we see Eugenio Suarez fly out there for the final out of the inning. So even though he gives up a little bit of runs, we would see Mr. Herget escape it while it's still 8-2 Mets lead. In the bottom of the 8th, Acuna, Alvarez, and Tyrone Taylor go down, and Alvarez and Tyrone are called out on strikes back-to-back. On the top of the 9th, we would see Kevin Herget try to close out this ball game, and he does, as he gets a line out on Gabby Moreno. He gives up a single there to Pavin Smith. He gives up a single to Garrett Hampson, and then a wild pitch allows runners in scoring position, less than 2 out. Jorge Barrosa drives in another run, his second RBI of the day, this time via ground out. And then we would see, after that, the final out of the day, as Perdomo would be called out on strike 3, and that does it for the ball game. 92 paint there on the four-seam fastball. Herget gets the job done. The Mets get the job done, and they win this one pretty comfortably by a final score of 8-3. The AMAZINs now, folks, just to share some context, when we evaluate them specifically, the 1968 New York Mets went 13-17 in those 30 games with a 1.79 ERA. When we talk about teams in recent Mets history that have had now a 2.6 ERA, is the third lowest in franchise history for the Mets throughout their first 30 games. That is how good the Mets have been right now, statistically. We have 1968 with that 1.79 ERA, even though that they didn't sadly score enough runs. That's why they had a losing record over that span. A 2.30 ERA in 1971, and now a 2.60 ERA. Far and away the best pitching staff in baseball per Fangraphs F4 and wins above replacement right now. And the Mets got the job done again in all facets, from the pitching to the offense. Because David Peterson, guys, I didn't really deep dive too much in this one, and I will now. But Peterson just did what he needed to do. He was as advertised. He only won 5 innings for the Mets on 85 pitches, but that's because they really didn't need to overwork him at all. Peterson allowed just 5 hits, 1 earned run, 0 walks, and 2 strikeouts. His ERA is down to 3.06 on the season. I know the expected ERA will still be inflated because he had a lot of luck on his side in this one. But as we evaluate what works so well here for David Peterson in tonight's 8-3 victory, let's get into his arsenal as well as the other relievers, and then we're going to take a look at the individual player performances on the offensive end that I love to highlight, including Lindor and a couple guys that we mentioned to begin the show here. Urena and Herget have 5 innings for the Mets in the last 2 days. They've really saved the pen in that sense. You're 100% right, especially when Herget is going to be the corresponding move naturally for Brandon Waddell to be activated tomorrow as a starter. That's why the Mets didn't call up Danil Nunez today, is because they wanted a guy that was going to come up, eat innings, and then be sent down right away or DFA'd. That's what they're doing in Herget, because Brandon Waddell has to be an innings eater tomorrow, either as a starter or he'll come in and start in the second or third inning after, say, a Brosban or someone else begins the game as a spot starter, eerily similar to what the Mets did with Justin Hageman a couple weeks ago in Minneapolis against the Twins. But as we evaluate now David Peterson's arsenal today, everybody, it was as follows. We take a look here. The sinker was at 45% of the arsenal, topped out 94, sat 92. The slider, which was 27% of the arsenal, topped out 86, sat 84. The changeup at 14% of the arsenal, topped out 87, and sat 84. And the four-seam at 9% of the arsenal, topped out 93, sat 92. And the curveball at just 5% of the arsenal, topped out 81, and sat right around, 79 for the most part. So good job by Pearson. Jose Budo had the four-seam, sinker, slider, changeup, sweeper all working. Four-seam sat right around 94, which was nice. Sinker, same exact thing. And all the off-speed and breaking pitches sitting right around what we saw there in the, mid-80s. Highest pitch that we saw was right around the changeup that sat closer to 87 miles per hour. Now, as we get into the pitching performance from Kevin Herget, you have the cutter working 55% of the time, topping out 88 and sitting right around 86. Four-seam sat right around 92, topped out 95 at 29%, and the changeup at 17%, topped out 82 and sat right around 81. The New York Knicks, by the way, are down by 6 with a minute to play, so as a Knicks fan, I'm not happy to see that right now, I gotta be honest. Not that there isn't time, because there is, but absolutely hate to see it if the Knicks can't close it out there in 5 games at the Garden, because then you got to take it back to Detroit, don't you? Campaign just made it 2, but the Knicks are still down by 4 with 50 seconds to play. For my Knicks fans, I know you're probably sweating right now, and I don't blame you. The only reason why I'm not is because I'm locked in on you Mets fans right now at the same time. The energy in the stadium has been insane. Just bought a plane ticket from Texas so I can experience this in person. Anthony, I'm going to tell you right now, if you want to experience something good at Citi Field, make sure that if you're only attending, say, 1 game, that isn't a day game, because that will be your demise. Not that the Mets can't win in day games, because they walked it off against the Phillies last time they did it when I was there, but prior to that, the Mets at home for a day game as well did not look good against Miami, and going from a night to a day game usually isn't the easiest transition we see earlier in the season. Not that the Mets can't win, but I'm telling you, if you want the best experience, go to a quality night game for whatever you're planning, for whatever series you're going to go to. I promise you it'll be worth it more than likely, as long as it's a good pitching matchup and the boys just perform the way that they're expected. But night games have definitely been the greater trend to see more of the heroics than day games, with the exception of some of these 4 o'clock games have obviously been exciting too, but very different than just what we see versus a 1 or a 140 game for the most part. So as we continue breaking down everything that transpired in this ballgame, folks, now let's get into the individual player performances. And let's start here with Mr. Francisco Lindor. I would like to first apologize, everybody. That is not the Lindor graphic that I meant to show you guys. Let me pull up the proper one here as long as I saved it. You know what? That honestly might have been shame on me. I didn't save it, did I? I'm a schmuck. I didn't save it. No worries here. Please ignore the numbers down below because those are actually outdated with the ones that you guys see down there. The Lindor final player performance that we have seen is very good, and it is better than the... Actually, hold on. Let me see. I thought I saved it, but maybe I didn't. Accidents happen. Yeah, I didn't. No worries. I thought I had the graphic updated, but either way, Francisco Lindor had himself a day, folks. These were his numbers that we were breaking down basically over the past number of games stretch leading up to today's game when we evaluate Lindor. So just disregard the numbers down below and focus on the highlights that you're seeing and what I have to say. Lindor had himself another big game for the Amazins that we saw. Not only did he rip a 2-run shot for his 6th home run of the season, but he is now at a 302 average and an 855 OPS on the year for Mr. Lindor himself. And he won himself 1 for 4 in this game with a run scored and the 2 RBIs. So Lindor did his part yet again as expected, and he just continues to look absolutely dominant for this Mets team every time out there. And speaking of dominant, folks, separately, former Mets dominant starter and Jacob deGrom tonight went 6 shutty against the Athletics and struck out 7. So for any Mets fans that like to keep up to date with former Mets, there you go. All night games. Awesome, Anthony. I hope you have a blaster for that Pirate series. That should be fun. But yeah, guys, ignore the stat line down below. Just focus on the web gems that we saw from Lindor. Because offensively, he did his part. But just look at this, guys. This is absurd. Bobble in the air. Somehow Vientos manages it to get it in Lindor's direction. And he takes care of business from there. What a day for Francisco. And I guarantee there was no one more excited than John Mayer at Citi Field today. Because John Mayer is obsessed with Francisco Lindor. If you know, you know. Now let's go from Francisco Lindor, who had the home run heroics. He joined Starling Marte and Pete Alonso as the 3 Mets batters to hit home runs. Is it actually $400 for the Cadillac Club? It can be a lot more than that, actually. It fluctuates quite a bit based on the games, and I'm fortunate enough when I go to the Cadillac games, it's because I'm actively working with Cadillac this year to help promote them and give you guys that in-game experience, what it's like while actually being there. So thankfully, I don't have to worry about the cost as much as the average fan, and that is one of the perks that comes with what we built here on the platform, and I'm very grateful for it. But know that I'm using it a lot more for the sake of it being a mutual relationship with myself and Cadillac than anything else. But yes, the tickets are pricey, so what I recommend for anyone trying to get third-party Cadillac Club tickets, should you not have season tickets, is to wait until kind of last minute, especially if you don't reside far from Citi Field, and then see what the prices look like then, because a lot of them drop to very reasonable prices, you know, $100, $150 to $200, which is pretty reasonable for what experience you get inside that club. The views isn't the best as behind home plate, but it's without question the best club experience in Citi Field. Nothing comes close to it at all. It is a lot of fun, and it's like a little speakeasy too in how you enter it. Very cool, very unique, and very different. Now, guys, let's get on to a guy that I've been loving. It's Tyrone Taylor. What a game for Tyrone Taylor. Like, are you kidding me right now, TT? Are you kidding me? Tyrone Taylor, what a double. 2 RBIs. I don't care that if he's batting below the Mendoza line right now. It does not matter, folks. Look at what he is doing. A 508 OPS, and I don't care. Every single game, Tyrone Taylor does something different. And the reason why I'm showing you guys Tyrone Taylor with Acuna highlights is because they fed off of each other. Acuna batting 6th today, and then Taylor batting 8th. Worked like as if it was back-to-back, because Alvarez didn't get a hit today, and he struck out twice. He didn't get on base once, and the Knicks are down by 3 with 16 seconds to play. Oh my God. Tyrone Taylor did everything. Look at that web gem in center field. Literally everything. And it's hilarious because he did a continuation of what my special guest spoke about that she shared on the Tyrone Taylor front in the video that's dropping the AM. And the best part is that we spoke on this prior to today's game happening. So I thought that was really cool. Very cool. Also, shout out to Tyrone because it's his mom's birthday today too. So Gary Cohen and Tyrone Taylor's mom, 2 notable Mets people in the space that have their birthdays today on April 29th. Happy birthday to them all. But Tyrone Taylor deserves some love. This is the first ever individual player highlight we have done of Tyrone Taylor this year, including spring training, and it is long overdue. He does something different every single game, Tyrone. And not only did he have the offense working, driving Acuna both times, but he had the web gem working the way that he did oh so brilliantly there. Knicks are down by 4 with basically 10 seconds to play. I don't know why they're slow going down the court here. That's very frustrating, and they're going to lose because OG's trying to force a oh my god, OG just drained a 3 with 6 seconds to play. Unbelievable. They're going to have to force a foul now and have to drain another 3, assuming that Detroit is going to get their back-to-back free throws and sink them. That is a crazy game going on right now between the Knicks and the Pistons, everybody. I apologize for getting on tangents. It's hard not to when playoff basketball is going on, but Tyrone Taylor was absolutely tremendous, and I'm so happy to finally give him a personal player highlight. But it's impossible to talk about Tyrone Taylor's great production today. TT, as we love to call him, without also talking about, get that SeatGeek promo and absolutely broken gesture. You know the drill. As always, thank you so much for saying that. I appreciate that. But also, guys, let me enlighten you on what's going on with our guy in Luisangel Acuna, because Acuna Matata, he came to play, baby. Look at this. Acuna, another big game for him. He goes 2 for 4 with a stolen bag, 2 runs scored, a 300 average, and a 426 OPS. Remember when I had so many idiots telling me in spring training, as if they knew better, in my comments saying, Wardy, you're gassing up Acuna way too much. He wasn't that impressive when he got called up. You're making him out to be something better than what he is. You know, it's almost like you should have faith and positive development of young players when they're looking better pretty much every single game out there. And Acuna looks solid in spring training, and he's looked better and better every single game for the most part this season. Luisangel Acuna is not just a web gem at second base, but he is an absolute dynamo on the base pass. Already 7 stolen bags this season, and he had himself 2 runs scored, all scoring from first. And both, actually I shouldn't say that. The one he scored from second, but that's because he stole a bag himself. He has been absolutely tremendous. Mr. Delightful, my man, when's the next Knicks game? It depends on if the Knicks win tonight or not. Will dictate that if they advance to the next round of playoffs. So we'll see what happens, Mr. Delightful. You've been a great supporter here and a former member. Happy to have you, as well as everybody watching live on a replay. But Acuna, everybody, I want to hear, how are you guys feeling about Luisangel Acuna? Let's see. Economic says that Jingle is terrible. Here's the thing, Economic. You're not the only one that feels that way, but you don't outweigh the mass of thousands of Mets fans that seem to love it and like it as part of the routine here. So love it or hate it, it ain't going anywhere, and it's a part of the WardyNYM post game after every victory throughout the course of the regular season, baby. So buckle up. Plenty more jingles that have run this year, and I'll probably run more before I wrap up the live show today. Zero Cool with the $5 holla. Thank you so much. He says, Beltran and Lindor's first seasons with the Mets were rough after getting big deals, so it's not a surprise that Soto is struggling. NY is tough. NY is tough, but Soto also didn't struggle as much with the Yanks last year, but I'm bearing in mind that he was entering a contract year. So it's easier to be locked in versus when you already have the money now, and now you're just trying to get acclimated knowing that this is your home for the first time ever. Like, Soto doesn't know what it's like to have a long-term home, because ever since he got in the bigs, the focus was to get that big payday because he knew how great he was right from the beginning. So in the case of Soto, it's about finally getting acclimated and handling being somewhere that's home, and that's supposed to be their place to be. And I will just say that I cannot wait to see Soto when he really gets in his groove, because we're having guys like Luisangel Acuna play at a Rookie of the Year caliber level right now. We're having guys from Jeff McNeil's great immediate impact. Alvarez, same applies. The catching tandems look great. The offense 1 through 9 has just been stupidly good. And the Knicks are down by 3 with 2.6 to play, folks. And the ball is going to be down in the Pistons end of the court to begin this one. We'll see what happens there. Dan says, kick Economic. No, we don't got to kick him because it's okay. You don't have to love the jingle to still be supporting the platform here. Again, I understand that everyone likes, and that's okay, everybody. But folks, I have some really, really exciting news I'm so happy to share with each and every one of you. And this will probably be one of the final talking points I have for you before we cut things off for people on replay. We'll continue the live show. Deuce McBride just missed a free throw. You have to be kidding me. That is absolutely killer. Absolutely killer. Brutal. Okay. Well, regardless, the Mets out-hit the Diamondbacks today 9-8, and they had an expected batting average of 351 to 277 there of Arizona. And folks, I love the fact that we have the discourse now going in the chat where Anthony in the chat is saying the jingle is terrible, but that's why we love it. Keep it up. Exactly. Like, the entire point of the jingle is that it's supposed to be electric while also corny as hell at the same time. Like, that's the inside joke behind it. I don't think anyone's sitting here listening to that jingle and saying that is without question the most elite thing I've ever heard. If anything, you like it because you're like, this is corny as hell, but that's what makes it fun. That's what keeps it lighthearted here in the chat, folks. So let's see. Okay, did Deuce McBride just miss both of his free throws, or is he still getting set for his second one? What is going on here? I apologize for the quick tangents, everybody. I got one major thing that I want to share with you guys here in just 1 second, but this game obviously has me thrown off right now because I'm waiting to see what happens. Deuce is trying to sink one more here. Our contingent of Knicks fans, let's see in the chat in the comments down below. Appreciate that as always, everybody. Let's see. The jingle is great. Odd Villain, thank you. I appreciate that. Definitely do. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Deuce misses the second free throw, and that is it for the ball game. We head back to Detroit. Wow. Well, I can't wear the Knicks hat again tonight. Clearly, it was bad juju. It didn't work. My buddy spent a rack attending tonight's game just to see them lose like this. Oh my God. I feel for any Knicks fan right now. That isn't myself. It hits less for me because I didn't watch the game live in its entirety today. But if I was attending especially, I would be distraught on the floor, flopping like a fish, miserable. That's not fun. But if you're a Nets fan, this is your World Series. And if you're an opposing fan in general, you're happy about it. But all right, enough on the Knicks tangent. Final thing I have for you guys, and then I'm going to just do a Q&A segment for our final 20 minutes of the show for just our live viewers, not for people on replay. And it is the following, everybody. And I know that he missed it, but the problem is that they didn't even get the proper rebound. So just brutal on all fronts, an absolute gut punch. But guys, listen up. We have exciting news. Exciting news, Mets fans. It's official. Wardy Day 2025, live from Citi Field. Folks, it is about time that you hang out with your best friend Wardy here at a Mets game this season. August 1st, 2025, we are hanging out in what is going to be a fantastic firework night there. The day after the MLB trade deadline against what's bound to be a really good San Francisco Giants team. We'll see the new acquisitions for the Mets. And folks, what are we doing? You guys can get in on this before the official ticket rollout happens in the coming days by going into my description and emailing me at officialwardynym@gmail.com, giving me your name and the amount of tickets that you guys have interest in, and I will have you guys added to the priority list. We have a pre-sale list right now, and we have a lot of people already on it. I mentioned this the past couple weeks to you guys. I said that we're chefing up something exciting. This is just one of multiple things we're doing at Citi Field this year, but this is probably the biggest thing we're doing at Citi Field this year. Our first ever live event at Citi Field. We're doing it completely in the top left lounge that you see there at Citi Field. So they're not traditional seats. They're actual really cool lounge seats that you're getting. And you guys are going to be getting an on-field access pregame with your guy Wardy. You're getting a drink voucher as well. You're going to have awesome seats there in left field. And what's going to be a true community setting where we can jump up, walk around, go to the bar right behind us as much as we want. This is going to be absolutely electric. So all you guys need to do in order to get early access to this before it's public to everybody is by simply heading over to official WardyNYM@gmail.com. Email me your full name and the amount of tickets that you think that you would have interest in. The official rollout will be happening more than likely this week, but I'm letting you guys know for the final people that want to get on our pre-sale priority list, please do the following steps because these are going to sell out fast. I'm not just saying that as someone that hopes it happens. I'm saying it because I feel like I know it's going to happen. We already have enough people on the priority list as is, where if the majority of the people that are interested in coming actually come, then we're going to have to book an entire other lounge to make sure that we can fit you guys. So that is what we're looking at right now. I cannot wait. This is going to be an absolute electric factory of a day. The day after the MLB trade deadline, and your guy Wardy is going to be posting up live with a lot of you Mets fans there, having an absolute blast at Citi Field, and what hopefully is going to be a great towards end of summer run for them right after the trade deadline. So once more, check it out, everybody. The official prices I will have for you guys in the coming days. Once it officially rolls out, we will be setting you guys up with a pre-sale list, so you guys will be reached out to first. Anyone that was added to our priority list and is in our regiment of the amount of tickets that we have, there's a solid chance that some of you guys reach out and try to be added to the pre-sale list, and you already missed the cutoff because we already have so many people that have reached out. So I'm going to be hitting you guys up in the coming days. You'll find out the price point then. I'll be just fair warning, they're not the cheapest tickets, but they're not the most expensive either. Expect a solid medium for what you're getting in perks, as well as the fact that you're getting in-game experience with your guy Wardy here and everything else that it entails. So don't think that this is going to be a relatively cheap event to take part in, but also don't think that you're going to have to spend Cadillac Club tickets or Clover Club tickets. That's not the case either. I think it's a solid medium, especially for what the original rate of these tickets were. So again, guys, be on the lookout. Head over to officialWardyNYM@gmail.com for your chance today to be added to our pre-sale priority list for our August 1st true in-game experience together with your guy Wardy. Let's see. Am I excited? Am I excited for NYFC coming next door? Yes, I am. You know, as a very casual soccer fan, as someone who grew up playing it and admiring, I was a Juventus fan growing up for the Serie A league. So I'm looking forward to getting more invested in an MLS, and that's going to help me do that. So yes, I am looking forward to that. But thank you again, guys, for the endless support. I really appreciate that. And how you guys access tickets is the following. If you were added to the priority list by checking out the email that I said a bunch of times already, you guys will be reached out first, more than likely. We're going to reach out to you and tell you guys, hey, this is the ticket price. This is everything you need to know. Should you guys have interest, this is where you can go ahead and buy them. Once we're done with the pre-sale, we will then reach out publicly to everybody and unroll it for however many remaining tickets that we have. And if we have to add tickets, if we have to add an additional lounge, we most certainly will, as I want as many Mets fans to attend this game with your guy Wardy as possible. So I'm really looking forward to it. Can Greg and Jordan write a song for Acuna Matata? That's a great question. We'll have to make that happen, PB9. You'll love to see that. But all right, guys, let's get into this one, and let's break down now to just answer your comments, questions, and concerns. To everyone that's watching this on replay, this is where we're going to cut things off. So to everyone watching live, we're going to continue the show, folks. Everyone on replay, this is where we're going to leave it. So let me hear all of your initial reactions, the comments down below. Your biggest takeaway from tonight's 8-3 victory here over that being in the Arizona Diamondbacks. And I'll see you all tomorrow for a video dropping in the AM and more than likely pre- and post-game coverage per usual. Let's go Mets, baby. Peace out.